Hi, I'm Joe,
I'm Joe's mom.
and we're
East
Eastside
Side
Vibes.
Vibes.
Today, as you can see, we're talking about Drake. It's Drake Day.
Drake Day.
Um, yeah, so Drake, before we even get into it, what do you think of when you think of Drake?
When I think of Drake, I think of humor because I think he really tries to make himself funny in a lot of the stuff that he does, whether it's musically or a lot of times not even musically. He just does stuff that's kind of like a doofusy sort of thing. I think of his love of Rihanna. And the fact that he just can't seem to get over her, even though she's having two kids now with
Well,
another guy.
I don't think he's talked about Rihanna in a really long time.
I think
A
he
really long
I
time.
thought there was something in this new album that he brought her up. Oh, I think it was at the last song that we're the one song "Away Home" is one of them, or "Long Way Home." Um, but let's see what else.
He's definitely still obsessed with SZA.
Oh my
That's for sure.
gosh!
I mean, she's obsessed with him too, it
Yeah,
seems like.
yeah,
So I guess
definitely.
that's mutual.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of. I mean, I just think of him as always being kind of like a goofball and just
Yeah.
whatever.
He's definitely always been really cheesy, but
Yes, cheesy.
he uses that to his advantage for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're talking about him,
Right,
so
right. Well, didn't he
it
used to be an
works.
actor too?
Yeah, he was on Degrassi. That's how like he originally got famous.
Yeah, so there he can use his cheesy acting skills to get known.
He's really good at like playing himself up, and
Yes, oh yes,
he's
definitely.
always been good at
He's a
that.
self promoter.
Yeah, for sure. And you can see that through the rollout for this record.
Oh,
Because so like his new album For All the Dogs, the way it was promoted is like it was supposed to have the feeling of like an old Drake album.
that's what you said.
It's even called For All the Dogs, and it's
Right,
like, you know, like
right.
his dogs, like his own
Yeah,
like
his
his
homies.
OG
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
fans, you
yeah.
know. And the two singles that came out for this had more of like an old Drake sound. They're not, in my opinion, they're not two of the best songs on the album, but
Okay,
they're pretty good songs.
okay,
And they had, so you're like, if the whole album's like this, like I'm okay with that because like
right,
the good ones will be in there
right,
that have this sound.
right.
And that's just like how he rolled it out. Like he was promoting it that way through all of his concerts. He posts on Instagram all the time.
Fun fact, apparently he also threw an ad out for this when he wrote his book of poetry, and he had an ad out for this album coming up.
Yeah,
Book of poetry.
I didn't know he had a book of poetry,
Yeah,
but
maybe I'll buy it for you for Christmas.
I don't really need that. I'm not gonna read Drake's poetry. But yeah, so the feeling behind this is it's supposed to be something like epic, and that's what
Right,
everyone was saying. Like
right,
he had Zane Lowe saying that it's like there's unlike anything that's come out before. You're like, all right, like is Drake back then?
right.
Because I'd say for the last 5 or 6 years, it's felt like he's lost the passion for making music.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this probably started with Scorpion, which I think came out about 5 years ago,
Okay.
where there's good songs on it, and I feel like this album will have the same effect.
Okay.
Where when it came out, when like Certified Lover Boy came out, when Her Loss came out, Honestly Nevermind, Scary Hours, when these albums came out,
Mm-hmm.
people were very underwhelmed by them. They're kind of like, I doesn't feel like this guy cares about making the music anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the reasons people loved him so much in the beginning, because he felt like so passionate about what he was doing.
Right.
Like his lyrically, like, you know, he could, even though it's not like he's Kendrick Lamar or,
No.
you know, he's not Eminem where he's gonna have like sophisticated lyricism.
Mm-hmm.
It always felt very real and like raw, like he
Right.
cares about what he's saying.
Yes.
Like in the beginning, it was definitely like that. Whether it was like him singing about a girl or his beefs or whatever, his
Mm-hmm.
relationship with his mom, you
Mm-hmm.
could always tell that like Drake really cared about what he was doing,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't seem like he does anymore
No.
over the last like several years. And that's why when these albums came out, people were so underwhelmed. And there are good songs, and like I think a really good example is the album Certified Lover Boy,
Mm-hmm.
where when that came out, 2 years ago, like people like really hated on it. I think it got like the worst reviews out of any of his music in the past. But there's multiple songs on that album now that have become like big hits like a couple years later.
Okay.
Because you kind of go back and you're like, there were good songs on this. It's
Right.
just, it's like 25 songs and you kind of forget about those ones when you listen to the whole thing.
Right.
And unfortunately, I feel like For All the Dogs is like pretty much the exact same way.
Who was the person who made it go public that he had a son?
That was Pusha T.
And how many years ago was that?
That was a while ago. That was before he lost the passion for sure.
That's what I was going to say. Do you think maybe
beef.
he's lost the passion because now he's trying to focus on being a dad more, or
I mean, if that's
too much in his life? Or
if that's the case, that's a good thing. Like,
I agree.
You know,
I
like
agree.
he should want, and it seems like he is. Like for what it's worth, it seems like he is like really into being a dad. And,
Yeah.
Like includes his sons all over this album. He's on like multiple songs.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
he made the music. He made the
album
cover art. Yep. That one, what is it? Daylight, or is it either Daylight or Fear of Heights? Where I'm like, all right, get this guy off. Like, this guy's the worst rapper of all time. He's like 4 years old.
Daddy.
Yeah, I'm like, why did he put this on? But like, I guess it would be cool if you're Adonis in 10 years to hear your voice on an album like this. So
Whitney Houston did that with her daughter too when she was like really young, and then
I guess. But like it's weird.
I know. I agree.
Especially because like he the beat switch and that song's really. It's like just have him rap on that same beat like why did.
Yeah.
All the beat switches on this. We'll get into that, but. Drake's fallen in love with beat switches because he's been doing that over the last couple albums.
Okay.
Like, and I have a theory. I can say it at the end. I have a theory as to why he's doing that.
Okay.
But yeah, like you said with the whole Pusha T's the one that exposed that. That was like 8 or 9 years ago. No, actually it had to be less than that because I think Adonis is like 6 or 7.
I think so. I think he's 7.
So it must have been like 7 years ago.
Yeah. So I wonder if that's just kind of. Just a theory. Maybe his mind.
And he's even like at points trying to like bring up that beef with Pusha T. Like Pusha T's not even like he doesn't even he's not even the president for Kanye's label anymore. Like they had a falling out.
Okay.
And Drake's beef had stemmed from with Pusha T like from Kanye. So it's like there's nothing here anymore, dude. There's nothing to be mad about at this point.
Right.
With that. And it feels like he's trying to like drum up. I think he's trying to get mad about things. Like he's trying to find reasons to be passionate.
Exactly. Find reasons to be mad.
But like it's not working.
No, it's not.
And
because he keeps saying I'm a dad, and his son's in there, so
I think if you know me or know anything about me, Lil Wayne is like one of my favorite artists of all time. He is like my favorite rapper. But I'll totally admit this about Wayne. Like for years, it felt like that for him, where like he was putting out these projects and they just like weren't good.
Right.
Because you could tell that this guy had nothing to say anymore. Like he did it all.
Right.
He was the #1 rapper of all time at that point, and he made all the money, like what else is he gonna do? What else does he even have to say?
Right. Well, and sometimes I think wasn't it his case he was being forced to put out music too, so he was just probably putting out whatever, he didn't care.
And Jay-Z, for instance, did retire for a while, and then when he came back with Magna Carta, it did feel like he had something to say. He let himself stew. And Drake is supposed to be going on a hiatus after this. We'll see if that actually happens. I hope it does.
I hope it does happen.
And I want him to find the passion for making music again.
Right.
Because there's good music on this album, but you can tell that passion was not there. It feels like a playlist.
No.
It's like a playlist of Drake songs.
Right. And he and I were both saying a lot of the songs we like are actually songs with features.
Yeah.
Because the features did a really good job.
And that's one thing I did say that, but that's one thing about Drake is he's always been phenomenal at adapting to what other people are doing.
That's good.
And highlighting what they're doing. So that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Okay.
But that does say that the original Drake stuff on this record doesn't catch you as much as the
No.
stuff
Yes.
that sounds like what the other artist is like known for.
Yep. That'll be one of our songs we talk about.
Well, I think
All of them. Really.
I actually think they're all kind of like
Yeah,
that, to be
yeah,
honest.
yeah.
Besides one, but
Right.
anyway, so we're gonna highlight a few of our favorite songs. Unfortunately, there's not as many as I would want to.
Out
but
of how many songs?
23.
Out of 23.
The thing, it's 23, and a lot of albums nowadays, like, I think Post Malone was like 20 something,
Right.
Travis Scott was too. But they're only like an hour because there will be interludes or shorter songs on there. But
Right.
like everything on here, it's like 4 to 5 minutes. So it's like an hour and like an hour and a half album.
Right. And it's, I mean, I didn't mind listening to Malone or Travis Scott or whatever. I didn't mind listening to theirs because it just, it
They-
was, yeah, it flowed.
They flow
it
better.
Flowed
They're
and I was
taking
like,
more risks.
yeah, I'm like, I
Uh,
can listen. And this, I was like,
You just kind of get tired of it
you
after
do.
a while.
You got to
Like,
work
yeah,
your way through it.
and that's like, yeah, that's kind of stinks that
Yeah.
it is that way.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna listen to an hour and a half long album, I want it to be like, I don't know, like The Wall by Pink Floyd, or
Exactly.
like, yeah, that's worth it. Like to
Right,
listen to
right.
like that long of an album, but like
Not
that's
this one.
not
Yeah,
the case for
yeah.
this.
Sorry, Drake fans.
But I don't even think Drake fans would disagree with it.
Right.
I'm a Drake fan,
Yeah, you
so.
are.
But anyway, so the first song that we wanted to highlight is one of my favorites. It's Amen with Tizo Touchdown. And it sounded like my mom really liked this song too, and she really likes Tizo, and I'm happy about that because I think he's really cool.
I think he's very good.
And I actually, on my blog, which if you want to go read that, I wrote about this album too.
Do it.
The link's in the bio. But on my blog, I wrote about his new album, which came out a few weeks ago.
Okay.
And I was hesitant as to whether or not like we were gonna react to that on this on our do a video, just because it's so like out there, it's so crazy because he's just such an eccentric artist.
Hmm.
And the fact that, and I wanted to see if you liked him on this.
Yes, I do.
And then, like, we will in a couple weeks probably go over, check that one out too. Because he's just so different. His vocals are really cool. I don't think he's really like anyone. Tizo Touchdown. I don't think he's
Okay.
like anyone I've heard
Okay.
ever.
Okay.
Like-
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Like, he's just so, even like his voice on this song, like, I don't even know who I would compare him to. Like, it's just a
I
little
agree.
bit like, I know he's influenced by like Marvin Gaye, and it has a little bit of like that like deep R&B tone, but it has more of like a rock.
Yeah.
Tone,
It's like a
too.
combination of tones, but it's he sings beautifully.
And the melody for this song is just really sweet and nice. Like, it's very like warm. And Drake excels at these kinds of melodies, which is
Yes.
why like this song works so well, because Tizo Touchdown is so vastly different sounding than Drake, obviously. But like, they don't sound bad together. They
No, they don't. They sound
like, they
really good
complement
together.
each other.
Yes, definitely.
And this is, out of like all the songs in here for me, like, this is probably the one where Drake's performance is probably as good or close to as good as like the feature.
Oh, that's good.
Where like in the other ones, I don't think that's necessarily the case.
No.
But like I think on Amen, like, Drake does do well, and Tizo like makes it better.
I'll agree.
Yeah, so that's Amen. Amen is like cool and interesting. It's R&B Drake, and Drake, I was hoping there would be a lot more R&B Drake on this. And
It
there's
wasn't.
like there's some R&B Drake, but like, I don't know, there should have been more. And this song is one of the reasons why, because it's a good one. I know one of your favorites is also like R&B Drake, and it's like, because he's really good at that stuff.
Right.
Second song is for that I picked is First Person Shooter. That's the one with J. Cole. And this is definitely, I know like this one didn't hit for my mom as much, but I think that's because it has the sound of the kind of like, rap music I grew up listening to in high school. It has like, this one definitely has an old Drake feeling.
That's good.
It has like that more like kind of like a triumphant style, like
Okay.
gospel style melody.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And I mean, I know when I played it for you, the thing is like, Drake is not memorable on this song.
No.
And that's probably
No.
why, like you didn't really pick up on it. And
Right.
if you don't
He's not
know...
memorable in a lot of the songs.
And if you don't know J. Cole or appreciate J. Cole,
yeah.
like, you're not gonna, like, feel this song as much. And to be fair, I will say, it took me a while, like, way longer for, like, being a hip-hop head to, like, really get J. Cole.
Okay.
Because he's not, like, diverse in his tone, obviously. He's very, like, has, like, a very old school style of rapping,
Mhm.
where it's, like, it's all about the flow and the lyricism, and, like, if you're into, like, Wu-Tang, like, artists, or, like, that kind of stuff, you would probably, you know, like J. Cole, because he has, like, that.
Okay.
And, like, I was wondering, you know, maybe, like, now that, like, I mentioned this, and I'm saying this is a good song, I hope you go back and check it out, because I think you'll like his lyricism, because that's what J. Cole's, like, known for. Like, he's like, a lyricist, but you almost have to focus on what he's saying, because of, like, he's a clear speaker, but, like, he has, like, that almost, like, staccato flow where like it can be a little hard to pick up on what he's saying. But then it's not like Kendrick Lamar, where, like, his vocals, like, fluctuate so much, and he's, like, he has so much, like, inference in his tone that, like, you can pick up on, like, the deep meaning of his songs. And I think that's one of the reasons why it took me, like, longer, like, to, like, get with J. Cole. Like, I will say, like, I actually wrote about this when I wrote about his album a couple of years ago, which is really good, The Off Season. That, like, it took me almost until, like, the mid to late 2000s to really get into J. Cole, and he became popular when I was, like, probably in, like, 8th grade. Like,
I think
he's,
so.
like, before,
I remember the name. Yeah.
He's, like, before Kendrick and before Drake, so the fact that, like, for me as, like, someone who's really into rap, like, it took that long, that's just, you know, I think that's the reason, because, like, there wasn't... But then when you go back and actually listen to him, you're like, yeah, this guy, like, is a phenomenal lyricist, and that's why you like him. And that's evidence on First Person Shooter. It's not one of the most riveting songs sonically, you know, like, it's not one that's gonna like draw you in for, like, how, like, you know, unique it sounds, it's just, like, about the rapping. And part of the reason why it may not have hit as much for you is because it's about the rapping, and it's about J. Cole's rapping. It's not even about Drake's rapping. Because Drake's rapping on the song is kind of whatever. And that kind of stinks, too. It's like, you're going to get someone like J. Cole in here, like, go for it, dude. Like, you should put your best verse out there, too. And that kind of drags this song down a little bit for me. Even though it's a good song, it's not as good as it could be, because, like, it would be like, if, like, Eminem gets Lil Wayne on a song, I don't know why I keep bringing up Eminem. I know it's because you like him. But, it's like if Eminem gets Lil Wayne or Eminem gets Jay-Z on a song, but then, like, Eminem's verse is crap, and Jay-Z's verse is, like, phenomenal. And you're like, then why did you even, like...
just bring him on.
Get someone else then, you know? Like, why you don't even do that? Like, you gotta match that energy. And so First Person Shooter is good for J. Cole and not good for Drake. Our third song we were going to talk about is... This is hilarious. Actually, you can say it if you want, because it is one of your songs.
It's IDGAF.
Yeah, with Yeet. The fact that, like, you like Yeet is so
Yeet.
funny
I
to
love
me.
Yeet. He's awesome. This is Yeet's song. This is not Drake's song.
Well,
this is Yeet's song, and Drake put his stuff in
I even showed her a few of, like, Yeet's other songs. I'm like, yeah, no, this just sounds like a Yeet instrumental.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying this was just Yeet's song, and Drake put his stuff in it.
And Drake's done that before. I'm really good at... And the thing is you have to be careful when Drake does that, because he's kind of, like, burned artists in the past. Who,
I believe it.
Like... I Love McConan, who I loved when he first came out, is a really good example of that. He had that song Tuesday with Drake, which I'm sure you've heard, really popular song.
Okay.
But, like, he signed to Drake's label. Yeet isn't signing to Drake's label, so that's, like, one difference. But he signed to Drake's label, and then Drake, like, wanted him to help him make more music, and McConan didn't want to do that,
Mm-hmm.
and he dropped him from the label, and then like McConan just kind of like disappeared for a while.
Oh wow.
He actually got like a resurgence because he started like making music with Lil Peep, and then he
Okay.
died, and then so then he went back down, and I
boy.
felt really bad for
Yeah.
that guy. But and Black Boy JB, he had that song "Look Alive" with Drake, where the same thing happened.
Wow.
Even The Weeknd, early in his career, was helping. Like the reason like "Take Care" is so good, and why Drake's album "Take Care" and why "Take Care" sounds like House of Balloons.
Mm-hmm.
Is because The Weeknd wrote a lot of those songs.
Oh.
Like a lot of them.
Oh.
And there's
interesting.
even versions of a lot of the songs you can find online of The Weeknd's vocals in different lyrics. So, like, Drake bought those songs from The Weeknd. And that's when their label used to be called OVO XO instead of OVO, because
Okay.
XO is The Weeknd's label.
Oh, okay.
But he broke it off.
He broke off. Smart move.
And then for years they didn't talk because Drake got mad that The Weeknd did that. Because there's actually a song with Party Next Door on this album.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's members only.
Mm-hmm.
And Party Next Door, around that same time, also started helping Drake make music. He's from Toronto too,
Okay.
like The Weeknd and Drake. And Party Next Door always stayed on the label, and I think that's one of the reasons why he never took off. Like he has
kinda
some
held
like
him down.
pretty popular albums, but like not. I think he should have been like huge,
Yeah.
and he never was.
Yeah. That's
And
not
maybe
the kind
he's
of...
okay with that because I'm sure Drake's paying him a lot to help him with his music. So.
Right.
But Yeet, anyway, we'll get back to this actual song. Yeet, is known for this very like dark, like bass heavy, buzzing,
huge
trap sound.
Uh-huh.
I think it's influenced by like Playboi Carti, but like it kind of like takes it to a whole nother level.
Okay.
And his tone is extremely interesting. Like
Yes.
he's one of these guys where like now if you ever hear him, I'm sure I mean when he comes out with new music we can listen to it, but when you hear him again, you're gonna know that it's him.
Yeah.
Because like there's no one that sounds like this dude.
Correct.
Literally, there's no one.
Correct.
Even to the point on this song, there's points where I think Drake's trying to sound like Yeet, like through his tone.
I agree.
Like through his like. So anyway, why do you like this song so much?
I like this song because it's basically, it's IDGAF, and it's basically Yeet saying, you know what, look, I don't care what any of you have to say about me. If I want to sit there, I'm going to sit there. If I want to eat this, I want to eat this. I've got the money. I've got the fame. I have the ability to be able to do these things now.
And I think he's kind of saying like people hated on him when he came out.
Mm-hmm.
I've told you a couple of times now, like since you mentioned you like this, that I think he's there's a few artists who like when they came out who really influenced music.
Okay.
Like I already mentioned Playboi Carti,
Right.
Lil Uzi Vert's another one,
Right.
and then Chief Keef is another one.
Mm-hmm.
Where when they came out, they got a lot of hate from the hip hop industry saying this is crap. Like,
Right.
this is so different. You're making bad music. Like,
Right.
what are you doing? And then 2 years later, everyone started to sound like these guys.
Yep.
And No's one of the first people to hop on a lot of these sounds.
Drake.
So this might propel Yeet into like superstardom. I'm
That's
happy
excellent.
that he got on this album.
It was great. It's a great song.
like I'm like, yeah, you could say Drake's trying to sound like Yeet and he kind of like bit his sound a little bit, but like this isn't where like Drake's gonna overshadow Yeet because Yeet had a #2 album this year.
Right. This is Yeet's song.
It came out or at the very beginning of the year. So Yeet's already big enough where
he doesn't need Drake for his.
Well, I mean, he needs Drake to hit that next level, but
Right.
he doesn't. Being with Drake isn't going to like
hurt him.
Okay, yeah, it's not
gotcha.
gonna like make you forget about Yeet.
Okay.
If anything, you're gonna forget about Drake.
Yeah.
I mean, that's obviously not gonna happen, but yeah, I think I'm happy that Yeet got this, and it's a really, really good song.
It is a good song.
Our next one is. So this song is another one of my mom's picks. This one didn't hit for me as much, but you can say what it is.
So it's 7969 Santa, and so it hit for me because I kept trying to figure out what does it mean? Why do you keep having that? Why do you keep saying 7969 whatever? And then when I looked it up, apparently there's a restaurant called Delilah's at 7969 Santa Monica Boulevard, Hollywood, California. Just remember I said that, please, Delilah, the restaurant. And so anyways, apparently he was dating some girl named Delilah, or Lila is what they were saying, and this song just kind of was reminiscent of his thoughts and feelings about her. But then, okay, oddly enough, I did like Snoop Dogg at the end. I did like his part at the end.
I didn't even remember
BARK
that.
Radio is what it was.
I was trying to figure out who that was.
That was Snoop.
I didn't know. Like, I guess it does sound like Snoop,
Yep.
but
Yep.
yeah, took me a while to figure that out. That part reminded me of The Weeknd's new album. I don't know how I'm blanking on what it's called, but the one that came out last year.
I know what you're saying, but I don't remember the name either.
Where like Jim Carrey is plays the
yeah,
role of a
yeah.
radio DJ.
That's right. That's
like
right.
in between all the songs.
Yep,
And
yep.
they kind of had like that feeling.
Snoop should have maybe done that.
If the
maybe
whole
that
album
would have helped.
Yeah, if the whole album was like that would have been cool. At least that would have it would have made sense for why every song sounds so different.
Right,
Because you're like, this is the radio.
Because it's after this song, he talks about, Snoop talks about this BARK radio, and that Drake's got a new song coming out with SZA, and then the next song is Slime Away with SZA.
Slime You Out.
Slime You Out, sorry, with SZA. So it's like maybe he should have made that like his feature, have Snoop kind of be the person who's going to help with introducing some of the songs.
I think that's a real radio station.
BARK, it's probably his then,
yeah.
more than likely. But I really think it would have maybe helped the album in some way. I don't know, but I think it would have.
Yeah, well, at least, like I said, like it would have, because to me, this album almost feels more like a playlist than, or even like a radio station.
Yeah.
And the Weeknd's album's like that, but one, there's a lyrical theme throughout the whole thing, and
Not
two,
in this.
The fact that all the songs are a lot different on that one is okay, because it's like you're literally listening to the radio.
Right, exactly.
And like,
well, you had brought out too that you felt that it would have been better if he had put certain songs next to each other, because then it would have made a better flow.
Yeah, I'll bring that up at the end when I'm talking about my opinion. I think the sequencing on this is like horrible.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the reasons actually this song didn't hit with me isn't necessarily because it's bad, but it's because it's right after IDGAF.
Right.
And
right.
I'm like, this is so different that like I'm like, what the heck is this, dude? Like, why are we going from this like there's Fear of Heights and Daylight and then this song, which are like very like hard hitting, and then we completely switch tones to something that's like cloud rap.
Yes.
And I don't like
I'm gonna
get
agree.
that.
Yeah.
And so like when I heard this, I was like, oh, okay. And then the next song I think is Slime You Out, and like that kind of got me back in.
Right.
So
right.
If this song would have been after, if you could have even done Slime You Out after IDGAF, because at least that's the single. So like, yeah, it's way different, but like now we're going to a different section, and I've already heard this one.
Yep.
So
yes, yeah.
You know, like it would feel better with the sequencing, because you would have had to do some drastic change because there's so many different types of songs on this. But yeah, no, I think that's why this song just didn't
probably
hit.
Yeah.
And if it would have been 3 songs later or something, I would have thought it's better. Because when I re-listen to it, it isn't enjoyable. Like, he sings very nice on it.
He does. And, that's a lot of reason why I like it. Is I like
enjoyable.
His voice on this.
Yeah, it's very enjoyable. But it's like, I don't know why it didn't. I just like didn't remember. I literally didn't even remember it when you said it.
Oh, and then also in this one is Tiza Touchdown.
Oh, yeah, Tizo Touchdowns at the end, too.
Tizo Touchdown. Yeah, he's at the end of this, too. And I remember hearing him again, and I'm like, oh, all right, I like that. Like, I really liked hearing his voice again. It's very small, but it's still there.
And his voice on, like, this melody sounds really nice,
really nice, really nice.
Our 5th song is All the Parties with Chief Keef. This is another one where I think, like, its sequencing is bad, and I think that might have happened for you. similar to what happened to me for 7969 Santa, where like
Mhm.
you didn't really remember it because like what's around it
Right.
is so different that you're like, this is like kind of thrown in there.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, so one thing I don't really understand is why Screw the World interlude is on this.
Oh, I know.
That's
Yeah.
so what that is oh sorry, phone's ringing.
That's
hear
okay.
it.
Keep going.
What Screw the World is, it's like it's a DJ Screws remix of what that song by Lauryn Hill and Nas, If I Rule the World.
Oh, okay.
Because DJ Screw's like a popular Houston DJ who is known for making this chopped and screwed, like slowed, like sound, which is definitely very influential in like modern trap music. Like you can hear it in like Future's music.
Okay.
But he was doing that in like the late 90s.
Okay.
And he would make these remix compilations, and that's what Screw the World is. It's that remix of that Nas song.
Okay.
But like it has nothing to do with anything on this record, and the only other song on this record that has a similar sound to that is All the Parties, and that's like 4 songs later.
Right.
So like if you would have put All the Parties after Screw the World, you probably would have like, you probably would have hit people more. It makes you remember it more because it has a similar like weird beat and instrumental.
Right.
And
yeah,
I actually
the sequencing.
And what kind of stinks too is I think this is one of my favorite Drake performances on the album. I think his voice is really good on this. Like really good.
You said you felt this was old Drake, didn't you? Was this the one?
No.
Or was it first person
No, it's
shooter?
first person shooter where that feels like old Drake. No, this like it's actually one of the most unique sounding things to me. I think it's one of the most like it's like IDJAF where like it's one of the more like almost like futuristic sounding songs where it's like it's not like what's popular today. It's like what's gonna be popular tomorrow.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
I think Chief Keef is great on this because his voice is so like Tizo touched on. It's so different from Drake's.
Very much.
It stands out really like in a cool way. His voice is very gruff and low compared to Drake's. Like has a very high tone on this.
Right.
And I think in the second half of the song where the melody changes and Drake starts singing even higher, that sounds really good.
It does sound really good.
So it kind of like it, like I wish that like this song was getting more love, and I think it's not because you just like forget where it is in the album.
Exactly.
And so I mentioned in the beginning that there's a few songs of Certified Lover Boy where that happened. One is called Fair Trade with Travis Scott, where that song's become really huge, but when it came out, it wasn't.
Okay.
And I think that might happen with All the Parties, where like in 2 years, this might be one of the biggest songs on the album.
Okay.
But it's like people just like didn't really hit with them when the album came out.
Right.
And hopefully in a couple of years, because it is a very cool and interesting sounding song. Then the last song we're going to cover is
Rich Baby Daddy.
Yeah, that's another one of my mom's favorites.
Did you like that one though?
Yeah, I think that's probably the best song on the whole album.
Yeah, I love Sexy Red and SZA in that one.
Yeah.
And the beat is amazing.
It's another one where it's very different from everything else.
Oh, very different.
And it
very
sounds
different.
very modern.
Yes.
Like it's almost like a combination of and this sounds kind of coming back in music, like that high energy, it's called high energy Miami dance music, like the stuff that was like really popular in the 90s, like Pump Up the Jam, like those kinds of songs.
That's how this song is.
This song has that like beat. But it has like an R&B melody, so like I've never like usually those kinds of songs don't have like light R&B melodies.
Right.
So that's what makes this stand out so much. It sounds, and Sexy Red's on the chorus is phenomenal.
She's fantastic.
It's so catchy.
She's really good.
SZA absolutely kills it on this one.
Again, this is really a great song because of Sexy Red and SZA.
I do think Drake is fine on it.
He's fine.
I don't think he doesn't drag it down. Like
right, but I think I would give more credit to Sexy Red for this song.
And I actually think that Drake's best performance on this song is in the end when the beat changes.
Oh, yep.
Like, cause then like he starts singing with like that like kind of like a similar voice to All the Parties, that real like clear.
Yeah.
Sounds really
Mhm.
nice.
Yeah.
This is a song where people say SZA speaking Scissonese.
What does that
Where
mean?
like it's really hard to understand what she's saying.
Oh, it is hard to understand what. Yeah,
But she
you're
has
right.
a
It is
really
difficult.
interesting accent. And you know what's cool is, so I think Sexy Red also has a very interesting accent. They're both from St. Louis. So
Okay.
maybe just people from St. Louis have like this, it's kind of like Southern drawl and like Midwest at the same time.
Right. I could understand Sexy Red though, but you're totally right. SZA's, I was like, what is she saying?
I've heard people say that she's singing in cursive. And that's what it sounds like on this album. Like, there's a lot of songs on her album where it's like that, but this one, like, it's so much like that.
I love it. Singing in cursive.
Yeah.
I'm going to say to my students,
like,
you're speaking in cursive
How
today.
is she, like, how does it feel like she said one word with, like, 3,000 syllables? Like, that's what it's like. But it sounds good, so who cares?
Exactly. It does sound good.
It's like Bobby McFerrin when he just makes, like, the noises.
That's right. You're right.
Don't worry, be happy guy.
Exactly.
It's like, I mean, whatever. Like, it sounds good. I don't really need to know what she's saying.
Right,
I don't really care what she's saying.
Right. It says that it sounds good.
But yeah, I think that's probably. I mean, it's already becoming like the biggest hit.
Oh, good.
That
good.
and IDGAF. So I think that. And Calling for You, which we didn't pick actually. That's
Right.
the one with 21 Savage.
Right.
That's a good song too.
It is.
But
And I honestly had no idea that Rich Baby Daddy and IDGAF were becoming popular. I just happen to like both those songs.
Rich Baby Daddy, there's like funny memes behind it right now where like it'll be like when your friends leave the house so you can finally play your favorite song, and it'll be like a straight guy like dancing around his house, and like that's what it's like. It's like you can't listen to this song when you have the guys over because that's a little weird.
Yeah,
but,
that's a little weird.
But it's not. It's a joke.
No,
but
it's fun. It's a club song.
Yeah,
100%.
It's gonna get the clubs jumping for the next year.
Oh,
and
unbelievable.
Like songs like this are like what like redeem albums like this.
Yes,
You
exactly.
know? Where it's like, yeah, like you may not even remember a lot of Pharrell the Dogs, but like Rich Baby Daddy is probably gonna be a number one. And maybe it won't be a number one hit because it's Bad Bunny albums doing crazy numbers.
That's what you said.
I saw there's a song. This album came out like Friday night. There's a song on it that already has like 80 million streams. I was like, what the heck? Like,
I love listening to music
love that.
Foreign language. You know, I mean, we've listened to a couple already this year, but I have such a difficult time listening to Bad Bunny's music and not understanding what he's saying. I love his beats and I like his energy, but I'm like, I have no idea what you're saying.
I can like kind of understand Spanish, so that helps.
Okay.
But and a lot of like Spanish speakers don't even know what he's saying.
Really?
Because he has like this really weird accent.
There you go. But where's he from though?
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Okay, so he has that Puerto Rican.
Yeah, and he's from like a really, really like small town, like in poor area of Puerto Rico. Like his story's really cool. But anyway, we might listen to Bad Bunny. I think the album's really good, but
I've been doing a lot of research on that album.
And that one, from what I'm seeing, the lyrics are important because he's like calling people out and.
Ooh.
But yeah, it's interesting. But anyway, get back to Drake. So that was our last song that we're gonna highlight. So I guess we'll get into how we feel about the record as a whole. Actually, I want to hear how you feel before I say what I feel.
So do my rating too?
Sure, if you want to.
So, like I said, it took me a while to listen to it not because it was long, but because the songs weren't hitting as much as I would have liked to have them hit. But I did listen through the whole album a couple of times, but the same ones that I kept liking kept popping back up. But because of all the hype that was being put around this album,
that hurts it a lot.
It does, and I know how much you like Drake, and you went to the concert, and you liked the concert, right?
Yeah, the concert was great. It got me really excited for this.
Was it a lot of old Drake at the concert?
It was like mostly old songs. Like he didn't play a lot of his new stuff, which made you think even more this was gonna be like that. It's like, why is he doing that then?
Right, and then this came out, and it's just I was disappointed. I really was, except for the songs I like, which I like them, but I mean, I'm not going to say that I'm going to listen to them over, other than Rich Baby Daddy, probably. I'm probably not going to listen to them a lot. I would probably give it like a 6, I think, is my rating.
It's better than me. So, yeah, like I had kept saying, I was really excited about this. I thought it was gonna be really good. I mentioned in the beginning I would talk about like some of the beat switches and all that. So almost every song has a beat switch.
Yes.
And to the point where it sounds like it's not like, I don't mind beat switches.
No.
But like it's like I don't know. It's to the point where it's not that good on this.
Right.
Like gets annoying.
Right. It's good to do it once in a while, but not every song.
It's like every single song.
Right. And there were on a couple of the songs that he did it that I almost thought he was going to a new song because of the switch was so
And there's
big.
a couple songs where like the beat switch at the end is pretty good, and it's like this should have just been its own song then.
Yep.
This album's already 23 songs, just make it 24.
Right.
Like, I think I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of a song where that definitely happens. I think it's Members Only or something. Like it's like where like the end is like really good, and it's like this just make this its own song then. Like I don't even understand why. Like it's already like I said, it's already 23 songs. Just make it 24.
Yeah.
Like make this like a 1 minute song.
Right.
But anyway, I think that Drake is at the point where he's throwing everything at the wall that he possibly can, even to the point where he's switching beats in the middle of songs. So instead of 23, there's 46 songs.
Yeah.
You know, like he's really trying to. He sees what hits. That's like his new formula, and it seems to be working. To be fair, because these albums still do crazy numbers. All of his ones from the last 5 years.
Because it's Drake.
So it's working, and he figures he doesn't have to do anything else.
Right, but I like your analogy of he's throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks. But unfortunately, like we talked about in the beginning, I don't think a lot is sticking as much because he just doesn't have the passion for it.
Well, the thing is there are some songs like Rich Baby Daddy sticks. There are songs that stick, but when it comes out. And it's 23 songs, and there's only like 1 or 2 songs where you're like, I really like this, or like, all right, dude.
Right.
But like in like 6 months, you might have an actually better opinion of this album because you ended up liking those songs.
True.
Like, there are good songs on it.
There are. I'd have to really listen more.
It's just that like, a lot of it's not that good. And yeah, I said before, and like she just said, I think that Drake has really lost his passion for this. He's more interested in seeing how many #1 hits he can get off of this instead of just making like a good cohesive album. Another one of my favorite artists who has kind of done this recently is actually Future. Okay. Although his album from last year did seem like he went back to like trying to make like a more cohesive records, but like for a while it was like that, where they'd be like 25 songs, and there are a lot of good songs, but like you're like, this does not flow at all.
Right.
And that's how For All the Dogs is for me. It does not flow at all. There's good music on it, but
what would you rate it?
I wouldn't listen to the whole thing again. I definitely wouldn't. When I wrote about this, I gave it like a 5.3 or something.
Wow.
I gave it like one of my lowest ratings of the year for stuff I actually wrote.
Wow.
Like, usually you can tell on my blog when I didn't like love the album. But I still wanted to talk about some stuff. I'll just talk about best songs from it. I didn't do that with this because I wanted to kind of highlight that, like, this is an artist who shouldn't be doing that.
No.
Like when Quavo does that with Rocket Power, I'm like, okay, well, this is Quavo. I don't expect Quavo to make a 20-song album where every song's great.
Right.
But there will be good songs.
Right.
I at least for me, I do expect Drake to do that.
Right.
And he didn't.
Well, like you said, too, we keep going back to this, that it's just, he doesn't seem to have his heart into it anymore. But it's like, he still wants to be relevant, though. Like at the Toronto Raptors games. He's always relevant at those games. Or anything,
Yeah, I think that he, like, even like you saying he wants to be relevant, like, he'll still bring up, like, old beefs and old topics. And it's like like, care about something new, dude.
Right.
Like, what do you won, you know?
Right,
Rap
right.
about, or just talk about
Right.
the fact that you won then. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to, like, rekindle old fake stuff. And,
Right. I actually, speaking of, I just heard something interesting about him is that the album that he did with, he did an album with, or it was this other person's album, maybe. I can't remember what it was, but he actually, apparently you can submit your albums to the Grammys, and I guess he's been on a 3-year Grammy hiatus or something like that. Don't know what that's about. But anyways,
well, The Weeknd is, too.
The Weeknd is. Well, he now isn't because Drake submitted his album with this other guy to be possibly nominated for
Oh,
a
yeah, that was
Grammy.
21 Savage.
Yeah, 21 Savage. That
Yeah.
was it. So it's like, again, he's putting himself out there. He's making himself relevant through doing stuff like that, too.
Well, yeah, I actually don't know. Maybe he did that for 21 Savage.
Could
like,
be.
to try to get him a Grammy.
Could
I don't
be.
think it's going to win the Grammy, but,
No.
like... I mean, that's a pretty good album, but mainly for 21 Savage, not
Right.
for Drake.
Right.
But yeah, I don't think that would win a Grammy anyway. But I think that's why he's doing that. The Weeknd didn't because they kept not nominating him for Pop Album and for Album of the Year.
Wow.
And he's just like, well, then why should I even... I know I made the best album of the year, so why should I even submit for this if you're not even going to
Right.
acknowledge me? So
that's the Grammys.
I don't know why Drake's doing it,
Mhm.
but I know that's why The Weeknd was doing that.
Okay.
But anyway, with that being said, that's how we feel about Drake's For All the Dogs. I wish that we had better things to say about it, but it is what it is.
With all the anticipation.
Hopefully in a few years, we're way bigger and Drake comes up with something great and we can talk about it then.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm Joe.
I'm Joe's mom.
We're Eastside
Eastside
Vibes.
Vibes.
And have a great day.
Bye.
Thanks for watching.